Welcome to Trucking Tributes. I'm your host for Trucking Tributes, Susan Patten. I love whenever I'm joined by a lady driver, and today that is the case on Trucking Tributes. I'm joined today by Lisa Flater, and she has been a member of our honor fleet now for 3 years. Lisa, welcome to Trucking Tributes. I'm so psyched to be talking with you.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, as we discussed before we got going on the air, that we've bumped into each other a couple of times over the last 3 years at the Drivers Lounge down in Columbia Falls, Maine, where you've been with us for 3 years. And I should explain to the listeners on Trucking Tributes today that Lisa is a professional driver with Leonard's Express. And she has the distinct honor of driving the U.S. Air Force veteran truck because, aha, put it all together now, folks. I know you can do it. She is a United States Air Force veteran as well. Lisa, I'm really stoked to get speaking with you. I think I first want to let's unpack your military career first in terms of why the Air Force for Lisa.
Well, I had a discussion with my dad, and he says, "Okay, you got two choices." Okay. He goes, "Do you want to sleep in a bed or a foxhole?" I said, "Well, of course a bed." He goes, "Okay, now you join the Air Force or the Navy." He goes, "Your choice." So I went Air Force.
Air Force. So, how did you serve? When did you serve? And what was that experience like for you?
Oh, I loved it. I served from 1985 till 1990. I was stationed at a SAC base, which no longer exists. It's a Strategic Air Command. I was on a nuclear base for B-52s and that. So, and I did base operations, which controlled the whole flight line.
That seems like an enormous responsibility. How did that go down for you? Describe it for folks who are unfamiliar.
Oh, it was great. The B-52 bases, they had alert pads, and we had, we had a lot of transients that came in from different countries and that would come through our base. But it was tankers, KC-135s. We'd have KC-5s come in, which I got to ride on, which was pretty impressive to watch them refuel our B-52s in air. It was something I would not have changed for anything. Um, I loved the military, but it just got to where I needed to get out. So,
Sure.
but I got out with honorable. So,
Yeah.
and it's a couple medals.
Oh, tell me about those medals.
Oh, it was your basic, good conduct. I got a couple of those and your basic training, and I got an accommodation medal too.
Now, why did you want to serve? We figured out how you decided the Air Force as opposed to sleeping in a foxhole, but why did you even want to serve? Do you have a military background,
I
family?
well, a lot of my family served, and I needed to get out of Caldwell. I was going to get myself in trouble, so it was like, and it was the jobs that they had at the time. I was working at an onion factory, packing plant. And I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. I tried college and I had to work full time, and it just got to be too much. I couldn't do both. So I decided to follow in my family's footsteps and join the military. And I was the first woman to join the military in our family.
Wow, what an honor. That is really, really impressive. And thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for your military service. You know now, in fact, how much that means to everyone at Wreaths Across America. Now, did you do any driving while you were in the Air Force at all, Lisa? Or how did your professional driving career actually get started?
Um, that's funny you asked that. When I was a kid, my sister and I would sneak into my dad's truck. He had it's a pickup. He had a CB in it. And we used to talk to the truckers when we were teenagers on the CB. And my sister and I would always go, "We're going to grow up and be truck drivers. We're just going to have so much." Oh, we just were so enthused about it. It took me until I was 46, 47 before I decided to do it. And I should have been doing it all along. I kind of have a wandering soul, and it fits me perfect.
How so? What about the trucking industry and professional driving really gets you excited and getting you up every day to do it?
I enjoy the traveling. I mean, you get to see so many places. A lot of people don't leave their home states or even their hometowns. And you get to travel all over. You get to meet all kinds of people. It's interesting to see how different trucking like trailers. You can do so much. I get bored really easy. So I could still drive and move from one trailer to a different, but still be driving.
That's really cool. I can relate to that, and I can see how for somebody who gets bored easily, the driving profession is super duper. Yeah, you're driving every day, but the visual is different, the places are different,
Mhm.
cargo is different, all of that applies. So that's
Oh, yeah.
cool. I love the bit of talking on the CB with the drivers. My stepdad used to have a CB too at home years and years ago, and I used to just love chatting with people on the CB. I guess that was destined to be my career in radio, right? So, Lisa Flater is the professional driver I'm speaking with today on Trucking Tributes. We want to thank the folks at Radio Nemo for having us on the show this morning. And Lisa's a professional driver with Leonard's Express, and she's been driving as a member of the Wreaths Across America honor fleet for 3 years now. Lisa, we need to unpack that story for our listeners. How did you even hear about Wreaths Across America for the first time?
Well, this could get emotional. My friend Mason Edward Smith, who just passed away, I met him 4.5 years ago. He was one of the Leonard's drivers, and he was telling me about it, and I knew I had to be in it. I just knew it. So I talked and talked and talked to the company and was like, how good would this be to have a woman veteran driver to be involved in this? And they were like, absolutely. They were so gracious to let me in on it and that they let us participate in it. And I've been doing it ever since.
That is something. And yes, rest in peace. God bless Mason. Everybody knew Mason at the driver's lounge. We all absolutely loved him.
Yes.
His passing was in fact very difficult for all of us to face,
Yeah.
and Godspeed to his friends and family, because we know that's still very, very raw.
Hmm.
And Mason will in fact be missed down at the truckers lounge. And I got to tell you, I'll digress just a little bit, but what I loved the most about Mason was his passion for Wreaths Across America. And he always, as soon as I walked into that driver's lounge down in Columbia Falls, he would always say, "Hey, I've got an idea. I've got an idea. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this." And he also
Hmm.
took such great pride in showing other new drivers around. He was the first one to step up to say, "Oh, you've got to go check out the National Museum. Oh, you've got to
Oh,
go
it's
check out
great.
dog tags, the program."
Hmm.
He would actually take people around the tipland. He became so familiar with our layout at Wreaths Across America that he would volunteer to drive other professional drivers around the tipland and show them how all of that works. So, in fact, rest in peace, Mason. We are certainly thinking about you and are going to miss you in 2025. So, what was your very first experience, Lisa, with Wreaths Across America? What did it feel like? What did you do?
Oh, I was scared to death because I went up there. I had to leave earlier than anybody else because I had to. My first one, I went to Idaho and did the Idaho ones. I did Twin Falls, Boise, Nampa, Mountain Home. So, or Cuna, excuse me, Cuna, Idaho. And so I was kind of wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to do, and Mason didn't. I had to leave before Mason got there, so he kind of told me on the phone how it went. But I didn't hang out much in the lounge because I didn't know anybody, and I was just like really kind of off to myself, just kind of absorbing everything. I did go around and see everything. That museum is just oh wow, and then the video they do of how it got started. I think it's important people see that and see how you know it's just something that's awesome. I take a lot of pride in doing it, and I do try to educate people. But then when the second year when I went up, Mason was up there, and he took me in and introduced me to people, and it was a whole different experience. Plus, I got to participate that year in Convoy, where I didn't get to participate the first year because we had snow coming in and I had to go from Maine all the way to Idaho. So I needed to get there so I was on time. So they had time to prep for the services. So the ceremonies.
Yeah, we all know at this point that, sometimes about the only thing that Wreaths Across America cannot control when it comes to preparing and hauling those veterans wreaths for National Wreaths Across America Day is, in fact, the weather. And you never know when you come to Maine what you're going to get. In fact, the old adage here in the state of Maine is if you don't like the weather, wait a minute, because it's apt to change. So we've got that going for us. But Lisa, that sounds like such a great experience. Before we unpack any more for our listeners today on Trucking Tributes, Lisa, what was your first experience like with the volunteers on the ground when you took your load of veterans wreaths to Idaho?
Oh my gosh, it was an experience. Twin Falls wasn't expecting them. They weren't didn't think they were gonna get any till the next year. So I was a surprise. But the volunteers, oh my goodness, they put so much effort in and they are so happy to do it and they're so good to the truck drivers. It's if I ever have to hang up my keys, I will be going and doing this there, helping out at the cemeteries, and I will find some way to participate in this.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps, Lisa. That's so impressive. And, our volunteers, as we refer to them as our boots on the ground, mean so much to us, obviously, because they're patriotic Americans who are all stepping forward, standing up and saying, hey, we'll get involved. We'll start a participating location for Wreaths Across America, and we will make sure that the hometown heroes in our communities are honored with veterans wreaths in December. And it's amazing, Lisa, I got to tell you, as we're going into the season for 2025, we are already exceeding 5,000 participating locations in addition to Arlington National Cemetery, and we grow every day. So the secret is out, folks, on Trucking Tributes. Uh, we need trucks. We need a lot of trucks to get these veterans wreaths from point A, which is handmade in Maine, to whatever participating location throughout the country. And it's probably good to let folks know, Lisa, too, that we have 8 operating cross docks, if not more now, throughout the country. So if it's just too much for you as a driver or carrier company to come all the way to Maine to pick up the wreaths, you don't have to. We've got a solution for that. And all you need to do is reach out to the trucking division at Wreaths Across America and ask them how you can coordinate with them. Because as our director of transportation, Courtney George, is always saying, where there is a will, there is a way, and we will make it happen for anyone who wants to participate with us. You're listening to Trucking Tributes on Radio Nemo. We want to thank them for having us on this morning. I'm your host, Susan Patten, and I'm speaking with Lisa Flater. She's been with us for 3 years now, a professional driver for Leonard's Express and a U.S. military Air Force veteran. So we thank her for that time as well, too. So Lisa, you said when you got up to Maine, first year you kind of hung back, but second year Mason said none of this hanging back, Lisa. You've got to participate. What is the driver's lounge like for you? Describe that to folks who aren't familiar.
Oh, it's a whole bunch of drivers in there with the same cause, the same pride. Everybody visits. It feels like you're back in the military again. It's the common rivalry that you have there. I mean, you have the occasional little old thing about, hey, Marines versus the Air Force or whatever, but it everybody's there for the same purpose. And you leave there feeling so good. It's such a positive environment. It is so refreshing in this day and age to have that positivity around you.
Really, really is. And so many of our professional drivers say that about the camaraderie and the positivity. I had one driver say, it's the only place I know of where you can get that many drivers all together in one place and nobody's bitching and complaining about anything. I,
That's true.
I had to laugh about that one. It's like, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one indeed. No, and that's right. And the driver's lounge, and with the Tyson Cook team there, cook.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh my God, right? The last thing you could ever say, if you go hungry while you're with Wreaths Across America, it's your own damn fault because you are
Exactly.
well fed.
Oh, and the food is so good. I mean, it's just like, wow. I always carry food in my truck. So I always, the first year I went up, I didn't know anything about this stuff. I mean, Mason tried to tell me some of it, but it was like until you experienced it, you have no clue.
Yes, definitely well fed by the Tyson Cook team and Tyson,
Hmm.
and they are so generous in their contribution to Wreaths Across America. And not only are they feeding all the volunteers that are coming and going, working for Wreaths Across America, but all of the professional drivers who are coming in. And then, by golly, they break it all down from the truckers' lounge and then do our banquet and our send-off dinner. And it's like, holy Hannah, these folks can cook
Yeah.
and they are busy as one on paper hangers. It's amazing what they do for us there. So, Lisa, year two, your first year in the convoy from Maine to Arlington National Cemetery. Tell me what your thoughts were.
Oh, I cried driving. It is going to make tears right now. Um, to see the pride and the patriotism up there in Maine is like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, you hear about different places, but to actually physically see it, it is emotional. And there's one gentleman that just brings you to tears, period. When you're going by his house, going down the convoy, he's still in his uniform and he's in his, I don't know, 80s or 90s, it looks like, and salutes over a truck.
Mm.
It just brings tears to your eyes. As a woman, I don't know if the guys thought this, but as a woman, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he still spits in his uniform. How awesome!" Too. I mean that sounds silly, but I mean it
Yeah,
was shocking.
yeah, yeah, it's absolutely true. And yeah, and our believe me, our male drivers also say the same thing, and they are
Oh,
all
do they?
moved to tears by that symbolism of that man saluting. And, we've all talked about it on Trucking Tributes. And the other thing that impacts us sometimes is that widow who is standing outside by herself. And as we already mentioned, it could be any kind of weather, but they always wait for the convoy to come by. And she may be standing there with the shadow box and the flag. And that is as powerful an emotion for all of us involved as it is to see the droves and droves of school children on the sides of the roads waving their
Hmm.
flags and holding up your thank you signs and so forth. So it really, really is impressive. Now, I am curious. I want to step back just a minute, Lisa. When you mentioned that you're driving for Leonard's Express and you've got the U.S. Air Force trailer, was there any special ceremony or any way that they presented that to you or anything, or decided that that's the trailer that you'd be hauling?
It's kind of a sad story. Keith Buchanan used to have that truck, and he got ill and had to resign. And then they were looking for somebody else, and they went, "Ah, she's Air Force." So when I got it, I had to hurry up and change from one truck to the other so that I could take it up to Maine with me. So there wasn't really a ceremony, but it had already had a ceremony. So
Mhm.
um, it still had been honored already, the truck had. But Keith Buchanan is a good guy. And he was very proud to do that and very proud of that truck. And I get it too. And I take it on with the same honor he did. It's
So,
just he. Hmm?
oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, as a professional driver with Leonard's Express, we're always telling folks on Trucking Tributes that we need trucks. And, I'm sure some folks are listening to the show and thinking, do I want to get involved? What would your message be to those folks that might be sitting on the fence a little bit?
Oh, it is something that is an honor. It is a good cause. I highly recommend it. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
It's an experience you will never forget and you will never stop doing once you do it.
We say it all the time at Wreaths Across America, but I love it when our professional drivers say it. Everybody gets a little skeptical, say, "Well, you work for Wreaths Across America, you're supposed to say that." Yeah, well, that's probably true, but we're not twisting any arms of our professional drivers. They're saying it
Mm.
too, that they say that this load of veterans wreaths is the most important cargo that they haul in their careers, and if that isn't a statement of support, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. So you're trucking down the road with the convoy, the escort to Arlington. What would you say, Lisa, or can you say, what was your favorite part about the whole experience?
The kids the kids love to hear the horns blow, but I think going underneath the flag that's on the fireman's, I think, isn't it the fireman's like crane there?
Oh,
When you
yes.
go underneath there, it's just it's heart-wrenching that it's it's hard to explain. It just brings a lot of pride knowing that places like that honor our military, and I love doing that.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar, of those who may not have seen the visuals, and we always have to assume that there are those folks listening today that are not entirely familiar with the process or the visuals. Typically speaking, many, many, many fire departments will extend the American flag between two ladder trucks, and we refer to it as the flag arch. So as we come into communities, then the escort is driving under that American flag that the fire departments have put up as a flag arch for folks to come through. And it really is impressive. I don't know about you, Lisa, too. The other thing that just gets me every single time, and I've been doing this for years now, and it still is brand new when you see all of the fire department personnel and first responders on the overpasses, and they're standing at salute with their, and they've got their apparatus out there on the overpasses, and many of them
Mm.
are in uniform and full turnout gear, and they are saluting as we go under these overpasses. By golly, that one gets me every time. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that get to me. Just, I mean, the people on the side of the road. I mean, it's freezing cold, and they're out there still watching all the trucks, and to have that many trucks in one at one time going down one road is impressive all itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, really is. So we get to Arlington, and then it's a game changer there too. Describe for folks, again, unfamiliar with the process, what you have to do at that point.
Well, I don't do Arlington. So I now do, in the last 2 years, I have done Pensacola Naval Air Base down there, and I work with the volunteers down there. Buster, who is Mort's nephew, he runs the show down there. William and Amy, those are my coordinators down there, and they are always so great. Oh my gosh. You have to, once you get down there, you park it like it's like a VFW down there. And then you have to have an escort onto the base. You get your pass, and then you go to the cemetery itself, and you move from section to section, and we unload. And it is such an organized, I mean, they've got so many, because it is it's a national cemetery down there with um, at the naval base. I think they said there was, don't quote me on this, it's over like 9,000 veterans that are buried there.
Wow.
It is impressive to go in there. It looks like Arlington though, by the stones that are on there. They're all the same and that. But the group of volunteers that they get to unload me are, oh my goodness, they choose the recruits that are in technical school, and they bring them all over. And it's funny because I'm the only Air Force person on the base. And when it's time, when we're done, I have everybody get in front of my truck that says Air Force written all over it. And I say, you all will smile and say the Air Force is great.
Little intimidation there, don't you think?
Well, it's like these guys are recruits because they're so young and new. They don't understand totally what they're doing, and you're trying to explain to them what this means. And it's like later on in your career, you will understand this so much better,
Yeah,
you know.
very true.
But they do good work.
Very true. Well, and thank you for correcting me. And I'll clarify for our listeners on Trunking Tributes. I'm speaking with Lisa Flater, by the way. She is a professional driver with Leonard's Express and a U.S. Air Force veteran, as she made quite clear just moments ago. But I do want to clarify, and thank you for correcting me on that, Lisa, that she does take off with the annual wreath escort from Maine. But when it comes time, she peels off and does not make the entire trek down to Arlington like so many of the trucks do. And that's what happens happens, and that's the way we do it. So if you are up in Maine, you've got your truck loaded, you're able to hang tight and take off with the full escort. That's what is amazing. And then you peel off where you need to get your wreaths to your destination. And it really, and that's what makes the escort leaving from Maine so darned impressive, because the escort, the full escort going down, 12 or 13 trucks and our law enforcement, our Patriot Guard riders and our wrapped vehicles from Chevy and all that. But when we leave Maine, gosh, we're in excess of 60, 70 tractor trailers. And it
Hmm.
is a sight to behold, without a doubt, a sight to behold. So it was really incredible. And thank you, too, for giving the shout out to your volunteers, your folks who are on the ground making it all work and doing the wreath laying ceremony. This year, Saturday, December 13th, it is now the time to reach out to the Transportation Division at Wreaths Across America. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we build and make relationships. You know, if you want to participate, don't let it be a barrier if you don't happen to have a trailer or you can't get all the way to Maine, because we have solutions for that. And the Transportation Division at Wreaths Across America is just exceptional. Courtney George and Sarah and Rob and all the folks there at Wreaths Across America that work in the trucking division will find a way to make it happen for you, because they want your participation. And we need trucks. Courtney tells me that we're increasing our payload this year because we are growing. Even as I speak, we're bringing on new participating locations all the time. We're well over 5,000 now, and the payload's going to increase by easy 100,000 to 200,000 veterans wreaths this year alone. So we need the trucks, and we need the help with the transportation of of these veterans wreaths, and that's why you're moving the mission. That's why you are a member of the honor fleet. And our theme for 2025 is keep moving forward, and that's exactly what the transportation division does, and the industry does for us. Lisa Flater, what am I not talking about that you think is super cool or super important to relay to listeners today on Trucking Tributes?
The West Coast is not as familiar with the Rees as the East Coast. And I'd like to challenge people on the West Coast to look into this and to participate and get their cemeteries honored. Um, I'm surprised when I'm talking to people over here how many people don't know anything about it. And I mean, I tell them the VA hospital over in Boise last year was the first year I've seen them do this, but they put a booth out in the hospital itself explaining the Rees thing, and to get trying to get donations and to help cover all the cemeteries. So I think that's an important note to make. Um, I don't know. This is just always such a good experience. I love it, and I would love to see more people participate. Um, we're not just we're honoring those veterans, but we're showing those families that we recognize what these veterans have done and how what they've given up, and showing these families that we recognize that and we respect it.
No.
So I think that's about it.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. Remember our fallen, honor those who serve, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. Lisa Fleta, thank you so much for joining me today on Trucking Tributes, your military service in the U.S. Air Force, and being a member of the Wreaths Across America Honor Fleet. If you want to find out more how to get involved, then reach out to us. Check it out online, wreathsacrossamerica.org. You can find it all there, and you can get hooked up with us. Thank you so much again for joining us today on Trucking Tributes.